Seaweed farming is regenerative by its nature. It's very passive. You don't add anything to the environment. You, in fact, will soak up excess nutrients that are in the environment from other industries. So having a seaweed industry will almost by default clean up or help regenerate the entire ecosystem.
And regenerative ocean farming is really all about moving away from the extraction model and really looking at how we can give back to local community, local environment, and local economy. Examples of that can be, for example, by leaving crops behind, boosting local biodiversity, getting local community involved, boosting local employment. And I think it's also really important to mention that regenerative also means that we want to move towards a profitable model to also be sustainable financially. Very simply said, I think regenerative ocean farming means giving back more than you take out, both in terms of the environment, biodiversity, for example, but also for the community. That in the community people feel ownership to it, can contribute and can benefit from it in so many ways, and therefore spread the good news around it.
We need to move away from the extractive and failed practices of the past, and we need to move towards a more sustainable farming methodologies. The C-FAARER project is EU Mission Ocean funded. We started just under 2 years ago. We're coming to the completion of the project now, and the project is all about advancing regenerative ocean farming.
This project has a spin-off that is the Irish Seaweed Association, and the importance of the association is actually to be an unifying body for the stakeholders.
It's a very good support to have these associations, the Norwegian Seaweed Association, the newly established Irish Seaweed Association, because this brings people together, and that is actually where the magic happens, and that is where the magic happened for me and Nikolai when we collaborated, discussing, making new partnerships.
I have been working with seaweed for about 20-25 years, and what inspired me to start really was my degree, which was in biological sciences, but I quickly discovered seaweed through that, and a PhD led to a career solely in seaweed and mainly in applied research, which seemed to be at the time a very interesting developing area of an industry. And little did I know how little there was known about cultivation at the time. And I suppose sometimes you throw yourself into these things, and I never left.
Yes, we kind of had an overarching motto, which was seaweed farming naturally, and we were committed to using nature's principle in the farming. And by that we thought about, for one thing, nature is diverse, so we tried to be as diverse in everything we did and how we did it as possible. In very practical terms, we had a goal to move towards what we can see in regenerative agriculture. So not be so oriented on other ways of ocean farming, but really take the principles from regenerative farming on land and permaculture, for example. One of the biggest challenges for us, or not just for us, was that everything in this value chain had to be developed from scratch. So nothing was already there. So we had to learn everything, how to make the seaweed grow, in which conditions, how to get a license, of course, before, but also develop the markets and products from it.
I think it's very important to maintain dialogue between everybody in the industry, and that's from the regulators on up. We also do a lot of communication and outreach with members of the general public, which of course feeds back into licensing decisions, because the more people understand about what you're trying to do and the positive effects of seaweed growing, the better the industry can get started.
I know a lot of other farms are struggling with this as well, is that you might do the same thing from one year to the other or from one line to the other, and then it will have a different outcome, or also storms and current can be different, the site, the water quality can be different. So there is a lot of factors, and I think it's very challenging to manage to get something successful and understand all those factors. I'm definitely not there yet. So that I think is the biggest challenge, like realize what's the best depth, time to deploy, light, maybe position, orientation of the lines and all of that, and I'm still working on this. So that has been the biggest challenge. And I think it's probably the case for a lot of other farms as well.
I became involved with seaweed farming when I moved to Rathlin Island. So it's a very small island community of about 150 people. They have always been involved with seaweed. They have been harvesting for hundreds of years for different purposes. Now there's the seaweed farm, and it's just great to be out in nature a lot of the time and work with nature.
One of the main challenges is in the Western countries how to make it profitable to cultivate seaweed. For the past 10 years, I would say all the seaweed farmers, they have been doing everything, not focusing on parts of the value chain. But what we see now, a trend in the industry, is that all of these people being involved in the seaweed industry, they are now specializing more. And this is actually the story for Nikolai, because he was a seaweed farmer at start, but now he is specializing into technology. And we need new technology, we need mechanization to increase the efficiency of seaweed farming to make it profitable.
Well, anybody who wants to support regenerative farming, I would say start with requesting and valuing high quality and being willing to pay for that extra quality in terms of environmental and social value and practices that you get.
The seaweed industry is fascinating. There are so many benefits to producing seaweed, environmentally, health-wise, product-wise, and you can talk about how regenerative it is for a long time, but really the best thing that people can do is actually buy and try a seaweed product when they see it. There isn't going to be an industry without a market. The market is a challenge to develop, and really without actually people buying products and learning about seaweed, it's something that won't get off the ground otherwise.
I think awareness is where we can be helped the most, since most people aren't really aware of seaweed or the potentials.
Yeah, to make awareness of all the positive impacts that seaweed cultivation makes. The product in itself is a superfood. It's very healthy to eat it. You can use it for plenty of areas of end products. It's the most sustainable plant to grow. It's a huge potential in these plants, the seaweeds. So to enlighten the people and go buy products, of course, to level up the seaweed industry in Western countries, definitely.
One of the best things to do for people to support regenerative farming would be to just buy the products that are coming from those farms.